If you had told me a year ago that my own family would turn their backs on me, I would have laughed it off. But that's exactly what happened. And it all started with my half-sister, Ava Dot. Ava always had a knack for creating drama, but I never thought she would go so far as to destroy my life with one of her lies. Growing up, I tried to be the best big sister I could be, even though Ava and I were never really close. Our dad remarried when I was 10, and Ava was born a few years later. From the moment she arrived, she became the center of attention, the golden child who could do no wrong. Dad and my stepmother, Linda, adored her, and Ava knew exactly how to use that to her advantage. As the years went on, I realized Ava had an unhealthy need to always be in the spotlight. I didn't think much of it at first. I had moved out, living on my own, and was busy figuring out my life post-college. But looking back, I could see the subtle signs of how she manipulated everyone around her, especially my dad and Linda Dot. The real trouble began about 2 years ago, shortly after I stayed at their house for a weekend. One day, out of the blue, I got a call from Dad. His voice was tense, and I immediately felt uneasy. "Emma, we need to talk. Can you come over?" he said. Confused, I went to their house, not knowing that my entire world was about to be flipped upside down. When I walked into the living room, Linda was sitting on the couch with her arms crossed, and I could already see from her expression that she had made up her mind. Ava, of course, was sitting next to her, looking far too innocent for someone who had just orchestrated my downfall. Dad didn't waste any time. Ava told us something, and I need you to be honest with us, he began, his voice heavy. Are you on drugs? I actually laughed at the absurdity of it. What? No. Why would you even think that? Linda's cold eyes narrowed. Ava found some pills in your room last weekend, she said. I froze. Ava had never been in my room, or so I thought. But before I could say anything, Ava chimed in, her voice full of false concern. I didn't want to say anything, Emma, but I'm really worried about you. You've been acting strange, she said, looking up at me with her big, innocent eyes. I stared at her in disbelief. That's a lie, I said, trying to keep my composure. I've never done drugs, ever. But it didn't matter. Ava had already planted enough doubt in their minds, and I could see it. My dad exchanged a look with Linda, and I knew then that they believed her over me. That's not all, Linda added, her voice icy. Ava also mentioned you've been spending time with questionable people. Are you selling yourself? It felt like I had been slapped across the face. My own stepmother, someone who had raised me, was accusing me of being a prostitute. And it was all because of Ava's lies. No. How could you even ask me that? I could feel the tears welling up, but Ava, always the actress, looked at me with wide eyes. I'm just trying to help you, Emma. I don't want you to end up like some of my friends, mixed up in bad things, she said, pretending to be the concerned sister. I couldn't take it anymore. You're doing this on purpose, I spat at her. You want them to hate me. Linda stood up. That's enough, Emma. Until you can be honest with us, we can't trust you. We love you, but we need to take a step back. I walked out of their house that day, numb and in shock. My own family, people who were supposed to love me, had turned against me, all because of Ava's lies. In the weeks that followed, things only got worse. Ava spread her lies around town, and soon, rumors were everywhere. I lost my job because my boss heard the gossip and didn't want someone unreliable working for him. Friends started to distance themselves. Ava's lies had completely destroyed my reputation. I was spiraling. The betrayal consumed me. Ava had taken everything from me, and no matter what I said or did, she always managed to twist the narrative to make me look like the unstable one. The final blow came when Dad called me again. Emma, he said, we think it's best if you stay away for a while. We can't have you around Ava right now. She's been through enough. That was it. I was officially cut off from my own family. I packed up and moved to a new city, hoping to start over. But no matter how far I ran, the damage had already been done. My family was broken, and I had no idea if the wounds could ever heal. Every time I thought about reaching out, I remembered the look on their faces when they accused me. like I was a stranger to them. Months went by, and though I managed to rebuild parts of my life, the pain of losing my family still haunted me. I tried to figure out why Ava did what she did. Was it jealousy? Was it because she always craved attention? Or was it something deeper? It didn't matter anymore. After about a year of trying to piece my life back together, I finally started to move on. I found a new job and met Noah, a kind and gentle man who didn't pry into my past. He accepted me for who I was, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe again. When Noah proposed, it felt like the world was finally righting itself. We planned a small, intimate wedding, nothing extravagant, just a celebration of our love. But, of course, life wasn't that simple. One day, I received an unexpected email from my dad. Emma, I've thought about you every day since you left. I know we made a terrible mistake believing Ava over you. I can't tell you how sorry I am for everything that happened. I miss you, and I'd love to be there for your wedding, to walk you down the aisle like I always dreamed. Please, give me a chance to show you how sorry I am. I stared at the screen for a long time, my heart pounding. After everything that had happened, after the betrayal, my dad wanted to make amends now. No one noticed something was off and asked me what was going on. That night, I told him everything about Ava, the lies, how my family had turned their backs on me. He listened quietly, never judging, but his advice was clear. You don't owe them anything, Emma, he said softly. This is your day, our future. I took his words to heart. A few days later, I replied to my dad. I told him I appreciated the apology, but I wasn't ready to forgive and forget. If he wanted to come to the wedding, I would let him, but Ava wasn't invited. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was my father. Emma, his voice was shaky. Are you really not going to invite Ava? No, Dad, I said firmly. You know why? There was a long pause. She's your sister. I know what she did was terrible, but she's grown up. She's sorry for what she did. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're really going to choose her over me again? It's not about choosing sides, Emma. It's about family. No, Dad. You already made your choice years ago. I hung up, and I knew then that he wouldn't be at the wedding. Despite the sadness, the wedding day was perfect. Noah and I exchanged vows, surrounded by people who truly loved and supported us. For the first time in years, I felt at peace. As the years passed, I rebuilt my life without my family. I had Noah, a wonderful job, and a future that was finally my own. I had moved on, and I wasn't looking back.